We got 8:29. We'll go ahead and get started though here. We'll get set up. Today, like I said, if you guys haven't been joining, we cover stocks, both stocks and crypto, because they both impact each other, right? I trade options as well as crypto futures contracts. So let's start out over here on our BotJock main page here. If you scroll down here, we'll just take a look at economic events, see what we got going on today. Today is Friday, which we love to call Fake Out Friday. A lot of news around the world. We're down to, in this area here. Nothing really crazy. The remainder of the day. So, whenever the news like that becomes not huge, it just kind of sets it up for the market makers to make their moves, right? So, you can tell that if you go down to the bottom here and you click on liquidations, you can see that people have just been getting wrecked, over and over and over, right? So, the move last night and yesterday basically took out another $143 million of liquidity. So, they may not be done yet, right? There's a lot of people out there, that when they were following Bitcoin when it was up to 31K, they thought they were told by so many people, and so many people believed that we were going to 34 or 35, and I have tried many trading styles, and those of you guys in the community, you guys know, my favorite trading style is to trade the gaps, right? Because the gaps always fill. I mean, you can see here, right? If we mute the noise a little, we go up, we go down, we go up, we go down. Now it's a little more than that on crypto, right? But even if you look in the history of crypto, right, we go up, we come down, we go back up, we came back down further. So even right here, although this filled this gap, we never truly filled this gap. And keep in mind, guys, some people will comment and say, oh, sometimes they think I'm overly bearish. I'm actually bullish, as funny as it is. But you can be bullish while trading short and trading bearish. And so you can see here, although we pumped up here from this trend line, we had our retracement, we had our other explosion, and we had an absolute just crash, right? You think we went from 25 all the way down to 19, right? But overall, this is still bullish, although it sounds strange, right? Because we have a higher low, and that's what causes these explosions. So we're just at a pivotal point right now, guys. This is huge. I talked about this in the room yesterday. You have what was once resistance. You come along on the left side here, you'll have more resistance. Is trying to hold as support. There's not a lot in this range. So the two things that I see, and I don't usually talk about crypto first, but since we're on Bitcoin, let's go. I believe that we're coming down to here. We just are. Do I think it's coming straight down there? Maybe not, but there's going to be some bumps, right? So what this is going to fight right here, if you zoom in and you look at this, right? So I cleared a lot of the lines just to kind of show you. So what was once support, right, in this area, and support in this area, it tried to act as support right here, collapsed, and now what is it trying to do? It's trying to act as resistance, right? So in order for us to get back to being bullish, we would have to flip probably around this area here. So because we need to flip this back to support. So as you guys know, I always do a bullish or bearish scenario. The bullish scenario, we get some kind of explosion north like this. We come in, right, create our double bottom, come up for a retest, and then, this whole area here is just going to get reclaimed. That's how that goes, right? So it's a very pivotal spot, because the other if would be, if we fall like this, which we did, and we come up and we retest this and we can't hold it, right? And we come up and we can't hold it and we create a lower high right here, we're going to come down and we'll probably retest that neckline, creating a double top. And then what that's going to do is it's going to reclaim this area here on the candle. So we're likely to get our next bounce somewhere in this area here, right? My suspicion is if you take this line here, you can see what was once resistance, right? And if you go to like the daily, you can see that line that I just placed is very viable because it was literally, I didn't even look back here, right? And it's exactly that peak. So typically what was once resistance will try to act as support. So my anticipation is that if we stay bearish on this, we will break down, we will find support. So if you're in a short somewhere around 25.2, you're going to want to be really careful. Aside from news, right? News will just shatter any kind of TA. But I just don't see us not getting at least some sort of bounce and maybe even ranging in this area for a minute and then having the fall come, right? So if you are going to take, stay short or whatever, just kind of keep that area in mind right here. So make sure, just go to the daily, draw this line right here, and then keep a close eye on that line. So, again, everybody in the world's following this, head and shoulder / double top that's playing out. I mean, it's just, still looking very, very bearish. If you look on the daily, we are red on our divergence hunter, and we are starting to get low, but there's plenty of room that we can come down. So we're not quite as low as we can get. But if you look at the hour, right, you can see this might be that short bounce because we are very oversold on the 1 hour. So that might be what tries to act as that bounce, but there's not a lot of room, in my opinion, before it. I would say anywhere between this zone and this zone right here, right, where once was support, it would have to break that area, and not only break it, but it'd have to break it with some force, and it would have to be able to hold that. So otherwise, we're just going down. So you guys all know, from following me, if you go to the 6 hour, right, this is how I brought up that line. We were very accurate here when this came down. When it was up here, everybody thought I was nuts that we were going to come down here, and there we went. We had our fall 1, fall 2, fall 3, and then it exploded. I can almost see something like that happening here. Where we come down here and we hit this and then find a little bit of support and then just explode, right? Which could put us up into, some pretty high highs. I would suspect it would be, something probably from this line here like that. So if we bounce off of here and we explode, we could see as high as like 32.2 or so before we collapse again. So that's kind of what I'm watching on Bitcoin, guys. I hope that helps set up your charts. Ethereum, I haven't touched my lines. It's kind of the same. You guys know I think we're going to have a pretty good bounce somewhere around 17 because, again, if you zoom out, what was once support acted as resistance, and you can see we're coming down to test that line. So if we, my end or if with Ethereum is, kind of similar to Bitcoin, what you want to look at, because we are below these prior really good support levels at 1800, we would have to flip 1800. But in my opinion, we almost have to flip this downtrend to, which is around 1859, to be really, really bullish on ETH. For me to be super bearish, where I think we may have an opportunity to revisit this area, I would need to see it flip this line here. The 1700 range, and then act bearish, get some kind of double top or something like that to flip down. And if you zoom out, you can see where I got that line from. It's kind of like that, right? So we just, from the fall peak, right, we just kind of drug it up like this. This could be off, slightly, because you can see I'm missing some of the wicks, right? But you can see some wicks actually blew past it, but it's still pretty viable in this area here. But if you take a kind of a stance like how Bitcoin was, right, it's a little more kind of like taking this peak here and coming up and touching that there. So if you want to draw a similar line to what we had on Bitcoin, that's kind of what it did, right here, right, when Bitcoin had that little kind of accumulating phase, and then it pumped up really, really good, right? And then it came down for the retest. So that was the retest and explosion. So if we do break this one, my low of low is probably somewhere in the 15 range. If I get in this range right here, I probably won't run anything short. It'll all be long. Just like when I was up here, I didn't run anything long. I ran all short on my ATAs. So as far as my trading plan today goes, guys, as you guys know in the community, I scalp. So I'll be taking longs and I'll be taking shorts because I think it'll probably be a bumpy road. Fridays do love to dump. So just be ready, right? Just study the charts. Our indicators do really well on telling you guys the story. Just you got to be able to see it. So so that's kind of the crypto side. I'm not going to really touch much on the tech side, but you can see pre-market just down a little bit on each of these. Actually, Google's up slightly, but Google had quite a run yesterday. Actually, the last 2 days. So if you took those calls, awesome job. SPX, I'm going to touch on this just briefly. You guys know I like to trade range. For me, anything in this area, taking a call is just not safe. It's just not safe, guys. What would make me want to take a call? So what I'd want to see is if you take this line right here, right, which is resistance area, right, all through this, right, it has not been able to flip this. You can see even back here, right, it didn't see, still resistance. I would need to see, for me to take a call on the SPY or SPX, I would need to see this break here, hold this as support, right, like that, and then I'm gonna be interested in taking that call like that. So aside from that, I have no interest in taking a call because you guys know that trade with me in the community. If you take your high and your low line, right, this is your range you're trading. So taking calls up here is not safe. Just like taking puts down here would not be safe, right? So that's kind of the range that I play. If you're to me as a trader, whether it's options or futures, I love these positions because when you're in the middle, it could really go either way. So if you're trading this, you're just as likely to have this kind of rising wedge bear flag kind of play out, right, as you are to have it invalidate like it did. And so it's more risky, right? But when it's up here like this, I mean, you could just scalp these all day long, just make so much money. I mean, you think about this, right? When you hit here, how many puts within this? Because I'm on the 1 hour time frame. These are huge movements for puts, right? That you can just scalp these all day. It makes so much money. It's not even funny. So I love being up in these ranges. I love being down in these ranges. If you really zoom out and you look at the SPX, we've hit it quite a bit. And the only thing you want to sort of be cautious, and this is why I throw that and or if, right, is we do have our low, which hit the range. We did not quite hit the range here. We actually created a higher low, and we came back pretty strong, right, back to this level. Resistance, just like support, is made and meant to be broken. So, if we hang out here too long, right, and we don't see some bearishness like we did here, right, where you like weakness, right, so you see the lower highs kind of forming in the double top. I mean, I tried to double top 1, 2, 3 times, right, before it finally broke, where it double topped, came up, and then fell down. So if we don't see those type of bearish patterns playing out, then there's a possibility it could break it, right? It could break this and flip that to be bullish. I want to show you guys one other thing. Let me go to the SPY. This is the long term that I'm following on the SPY. Let me delete some of my old lines that we were watching. That's what we were trading yesterday or the other day. So if you go to the daily, guys, and you look at this, right, this is kind of what we were following. So there's 2 patterns in here potentially playing out, right? You have your potential bear pennant from the fall on a long term. Remember, this is the daily, so it could take months for this to play out. So if this is a bear pennant that we're following in, the high is going to be somewhere in here, right, which is 416, 417, right? So if we start to get a lot of rejection in this area and it pulls all the way back down into this area, we know this bear pennant is in play. and we're almost into the squeeze area, which would just absolutely be nuts on that fall, right? Now, the secondary pattern that I have been talking about in the room is if you take these two, yeah, if you take this point and this point, right, like that, we have a potential bear flag, right? So now we're only about halfway through if that flag is playing out. It can break down halfway through, so we could see something like this, boom. But there is that chance if we flip this red line, right, which is about 415, 416, if we flip this and we hold support like this, that we could see a push all the way up to here, right, which would be about 435. I don't know that we'll hit 435 because we have this resistance level here about 431. If we hit this, guys, I mean, this will be the put of all puts. I mean, you guys will you'll be rich. Just take as many contracts as you can because the economy will not support it if we even get there. Let's see, delete that. So that's kind of what I'm watching more long term with the SPY. So we have the two patterns playing out. We should see pretty soon, I'd say by next week. If this red line holds, then we're just coming back down to about 395. We still have a gap to fill, guys. You guys know I trade gaps, and the SPY is so good at filling the gaps because look at this. Even if you go like reverse, right? So we had our fall, we had our gap fill. Remember, about halfway. We had our fall, easily filled the gap, right? Then we filled that gap. This one didn't quite make the gap fill, not quite. It fell one more time, right? But it came back up and caught it. Still filled the gap, right? Then we came back down, filled that gap, right? And then we had this gap. Now this one filled the bearish gap. This one came up, filled the gap, came up, right? So the gap is shrinking, but we still have not quite filled that halfway gap. It'd be at least around 400 or so for me to be convinced that that's filled. So that's kind of where I'm at on the market, the stocks, stuff like that. I hope that helps you guys out. I'm going to go into the ATAs now. So we got about 13 minutes left. We'll talk about that. Talk about what I want to add for the weekend because I like to go a little more aggressive on the weekend. So let's take a look at ETH. We are running ETH long short and LTC long short and Matic long. We did stop our Sol short, which, knowing where the market is right now, I mean, we could have probably left that going. I almost started it back up too, and then I was like, I'm gonna wait. So let's take a look at our ETH short. So if you're loading your charts with me, you just come down here to load layout. We'll take a look at ETH. ETH short's probably doing well. ETH long probably is still stuck, but I'm pretty sure my DCA triggered. So 4 days, we made $90. ETH is just continuing to short the heck out of the market, doing super, super well. We're in a short right now that's going a little bit negative, but it has not DCA'd at all, so I'm not concerned whatsoever on the short. What I want to check on the short is make sure you only have one DCA, guys, because if you look at the overall 1 hour of Ethereum, let's mute this sucker. If you go to the overall 1 hour, right, we have plenty of room, as we talked about, to go down here, but there still could be, that possibility that we're not done oscillating on this side, right, like we did here. So we could see, a push north as high as 1840 or so, right? So you don't want to get your ATA caught in a position where you're in a 3 times DCA short at 1780 and we're all the way back up to 21, right? It's gonna hurt. So that's why, when I get low in the range on ETH, I don't really stop it. I just don't I don't do more than one DCA. So our longs, we did get our second DCA trigger. You can see right here, we are below that. We got kind of like a little inverse head and shoulder popping, right? Our entry is not in terrible position. We're at 1850, which was brought down from like 19 something. So I'm going to let that one just keep rolling, right? Because now the third DCA for me is my last DCA that I will try. So I will probably do that one somewhere as low as like 15 or so, right? So it could get stuck for a little bit, which is fine. But that entry is going to pull my my entry overall down to the 16 like something range, right? Which I'm okay with that. I can live with that. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that on ETH. But in the meantime, I'm just going to let the shorts continue to earn while the long stuck, right? And that's the beauty of what we do is, when you trade the north and south like this, you can be stuck in something while you're still earning something, because the market goes up and the market goes down and it goes back up. It just does. We will get out of that long just like we did last time, right? And it's going to be a really good trade because we're higher volume. So when we do get out, it's going to be amazing. And in the meantime, we're just earning on the way down. So I am not going to touch ETH today. So let's take a look at LTC. We did add LTC short. We were running long. So knowing how the market's going, I'm sure the shorts are doing well. Yeah, so one day you can see we added it yesterday. We made about 30 bucks yesterday. You can see my yellow triangle right here. So let's analyze the trades. So it looked like it took a short here, closed it pretty quick, took a short, caught a really good one, took another short. For those who don't know, you're new to the channel. Anytime it says buy with a red, that's when it opens the trade short. Anytime it says sell with the orange, that's when it closed it. So we took another buy here at that level, which wasn't a bad short. It did have to DCA one time, but it did get out. Took another short, took another short. So we're in a short right now, and our entry is this white line. So this area here is our take profit area. So it's not going to DCA until it gets to this white line here. And it doesn't DCA, guys, right on the white line. It will not DCA until it sees it turn back. This white line is basically just like an area that it says, okay, you're okay to DCA if you want to, right? So so that's our shorts. I'm not touching the shorts. For those who aren't following that you want to follow, I'm just running short LTC Parabolic SAR. Y'all know that's my favorite. That was our latest one we released. Our take profits, our default, I'm doing 1 DCA. I do not have a stop loss because I'm running both long and short. And then just make sure you closed out your candle by putting in the date here and then closing out the candle if you're starting it fresh. So, and then make sure you're on the 1 minute chart as well. So LTC is really good. It's probably my highest performing pair because it seems to always stay out of the news. LTC is like that hidden gem, where it just like it's good, but it's never like highly in the news. So it's not like, so it just does this. Our ATAs perform better in the oscillations, the ones that you don't want to sit there and stare at, right? They do really well in. So and we have the Matic long, which is probably not doing too great, but I'm okay with Matic, so I don't care. Let's see, because I think we were stuck yesterday. It hasn't really dropped too much. Yeah, see, Matic's still holding out pretty good. This was, oh man, see what I was talking about Matic, guys. Look at it, almost got out. Look at this parabolic freaking movement right here, right? I mean, we went from 83 to 87. It actually pumped into profit, but it was just too fast. But you can see it's starting to come back. So we're, we did a very passive DCA. You can see I moved it all the way down here for my second one. If I would have trusted the TA here, right, this right here would have caught me into like a TP7. So, you get them right sometimes you don't. But, I didn't want to overextend here because I knew that fall was very potential. But we're still in good shape. I mean, the entry is so close here, and we're creating higher lows and higher highs here. So I would suspect we'll have possibly one more push for that. And it's too low in the range to start any kind of short, right? So I'm not interested in doing that. So let's take a look at. So we're gonna leave Matic there. I'm not gonna touch nothing. Let's take a look at the other ones. I like to overextend a little bit on the weekends, guys. You know that. So let's see where we're at. So we have 1, 2, 3 longs and 2 shorts. So I'm gonna actually, guys, I think I'm gonna play Solana, but we're gonna do long and short. Because the reason why is because we're in a range here where there's a lot of support. Can this break down? Sure, right? But we're low enough we can DCA that long if we have to. But I still think there's a little more downside, so that's why I'm okay running this long. So I think that the additional pair I'm going to run is going to be Solana again. And as you guys know, all you have to do is click the gear. The ATA runs 24/7 whether you're doing it or not. Whether I'm doing it or not is based on, do I have an alert here, which I don't, right? So I'm not running it. But it's going to continue to fire. So whenever you want to run it, you have to check your settings again. I want all that to stay the same. I'm good with that. All I have to do, super, super simple, is come in, change my date, change my time to pretty much the same time. It's funny, I do the same changes every day at the same time. You guys see that? And then it's going to populate that yellow candle for me. So when I get this, or the yellow triangle, when I get this yellow triangle like this, that is when I'm ready to create that alert. So I'm going to come in here, add alert, ATA Gambit, Sol short. All right, so we're going to create the Sol short. But I'm actually going to create a Sol long as well, because I'm okay being a little top heavy in the long, guys, because we have plenty of room we can go up in this big bounce here. So to do that, you just go to invite only scripts. I'm going to do my Gambit, and then just be patient with it, guys. TradingView's calculating the data, and then we have a safety protocol in there where it's going to pop up here in a second, and it's going to ask for your email, and it's going to ask for your passphrase. But it seems like every time you do it the first time, see it takes a second though. So we're at the mercy of TradingView. I'm gonna pull that off my screen here just temporarily while I type in my stuff here. All right, and then all we're gonna do is, so what we did is we created the alert right there. You can see Gambit long. So now we're just going to go into the settings here, right? Before I do that, actually, I always like to mute the other one because I don't like the noise, right? So we did a good job not running the long, because you can see it would be stuck, right, if we did, based on default settings. So we're gonna do the long. We changed that to Sol. I'm still doing Parabolic SAR. I don't want these DCAs because I'm going to manually add them when I believe it's time. And then I'm going to put the closeout candle. And you guys can see how fast this is to load these. You're going to find that you do the same thing over and over and over again. And so you can see how quickly it is to set these up. And then we're just going to close the trade on chart, hit OK. Just be patient. If this little eyeball is spinning, it's thinking. We have our close trade on chart. We just click these little three dots, click it there. And we're gonna change the name, ATA Gambit Sol Long. I like to put Gambit in there just because I like to know which one I'm running, because I do run a few different ones on there. And so that's how I'm gonna create that long. So then we're gonna come over here. This is our to-do list, keep in mind. So we have ATA Gambit ETH, long short, LTC long short, Matic long, and we're now doing Sol long short. So I have quite a bit. That's what 2, 4, 6, 7 directional pairs, right? So I don't want to overextend more than that for the weekend, but I don't mind going a little bit top heavy on Fridays, going into Saturday, because it typically, by the time you get into the weekend, right, it's just going to do this. The only thing that could kind of shoot me in the foot a little bit, sometimes if you do it too early on Fridays, you could have that Friday fake move, which could get it caught. But I'm going to trust it, so I'm not too worried. The only thing really stuck is that ETH long, which I can take over manually if I have to. But it's going to get out on its own, so I'm not worried about it. So it's coming up here on 9 a.m. I like to keep these about 30 minutes. I hope if you guys are following, that you guys are enjoying it. I know many people in the room are doing pretty well. John Sienna, if you're watching, you've done really well with your glass. But I hope that these huddles help kind of give you guys some guidance on what my thoughts are, how I plan it out. The ATAs can be very automated. You don't have to be super technical about it, but they're just so much more profitable if you just even can learn, just the simple of support and resistance, right? If you can just look at a chart and say, this is the top, this is the bottom. I mean, that's really all you need to know. If you guys are interested, right, we do have the Academy. If you don't know anything about what I'm talking about and it all sounds gibberish, you can join the Academy. We do talk about fundamentals, terminologies, trading strategies, and then we also go into using the automated trading technology to maximize your profits. So that is a perk from there. So that is a separate membership. On that's a one-time fee. It's not a membership. So, but I hope that helps you guys out. It's 9 a.m. As far as the room goes today, guys, I'm going to open the room for trading here in about maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We'll talk about the market for a little bit, and we'll kind of go from there and have a great day trading. So appreciate you guys' time. And I don't do these on Saturdays, Sundays. If you guys are following, I will have my next one on Monday. I only do it on Saturday if we have a drastic move and there's something that I need to